6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danushka Madavala and read by Soundithavam. The President instructs officials not to obstruct the traditional livelihood of villagers. State Minister Dilum Amunugama says that the government will not change its stance on corrupt officials. The United Kingdom welcomes the President's climate change action. Sri Lanka witnesses 165 deaths related to COVID-19. It is stressed that parents should pay special attention to protect their babies from the pandemic during this period. Minister Kelly Rambukwala says that the government is working towards developing the local products. In world news, COVID, US Vice President Mike Pence receives vaccine live on TV. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa arrived at the Imbulpe Ravanakanda village in Balangoda yesterday to attend the Gama Samaga Pilisandara program. The President instructed officials to immediately develop entry roads to several villages. The President instructed the police, forest and wildlife officials to allow villagers to continue kithul tapping without obstacles. The President ordered to stop arbitrarily filing court cases against those who enter lands belonging to forest conservation and wildlife departments for livelihood purposes. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa paid attention on building a tea processing centre for the tea planters in the area. He instructed politicians in the area to take measures to prevent delays when transporting tea leaves. The President informed ministry officials to solve land problems of the people in the area. It was decided to provide speedy solutions for teacher shortage in schools and to develop infrastructure. He instructed to find solutions for Tamil language teachers. A decision was taken to set up a vocational training centre for the youth in the areas. The President instructed to expedite development of infrastructure at several rural hospitals including Pinnavala and Manatunga Kanda. The Urban Development Authority was entrusted with the responsibility of preparing a suitable program in Bankiabatta Garbage Disposal Centre without harming the health of the public. The local government authority was given the responsibility of allocating a suitable land for a cemetery, which has been a long-term need of the Imbulpe Divisional Secretariat area. It was the third Gama Samaga Pilisandara program attended by President Rajapaksa. The Department of Motor Traffic has decided to transfer nearly 600 of its employees with immediate effect. The Commissioner General of the department, Sumit Alhakun, said the transfers are being carried out under several stages. The transfers are expected to be effective from the 1st of January next year. State Minister Dilum Amunugama said that the decision was taken after closely monitoring the department for the past year. The State Minister said that many of the officials of this department are corrupt. Some employees have started a protest campaign against the transfer. But State Minister Dilum Amunugama said that the government will not change its stance. The UK will host United Nations Climate Change Conference of the Parties in Glasgow on November 2021. With less than a year to go, the British High Commissioner in Colombo hosted a virtual conference on the 9th of December to introduce COP26 to Sri Lanka. The UK and partners from Sri Lanka, France, Italy and the UN set out their Climate, COP and UN Framework Convention on Climate Change ambitions. As the incoming COP presidency, the UK is leading by example and raising global ambition to tackle climate change. On the 12th of December, the UK set out its own ambitious nationally determined contributions at an International Climate Ambition Summit, highlighting the UK's climate-related targets, policies and measures towards global climate action. Sri Lanka is rich in biodiversity but vulnerable to the adverse effects of climate change such as temperature rise, rainfall variability and sea level rise. The UK recognises Sri Lanka's climate leadership through its framework to promote nature-based solutions to protect, restore and manage ecosystems and biodiversity in a way that also benefits livelihoods. The UK also welcomes President Rajapaksa's recent climate commitments, which include a move to generate 80% of all power through renewable energy by 2030, banning single-use plastic by 2021, and its work on the Colombo Declaration, which aims to halve nitrogen waste by 2030. The British High Commission is supporting Sri Lankan environmental organisations through initiatives such as the Commonwealth Blue Charter and Darwin Fund to reduce plastic pollution and preserve Sri Lanka's unique environmental heritage, including mangroves, wetlands and wildlife. Sri Lanka's COVID-19 numbers saw another surge yesterday, with 660 more persons testing positive for the virus. The newly identified patients are close contacts of earlier cases linked to the Paliagoda fish market. As per statistics, the total number of COVID-19 infections confirmed in the country to date now stands at 35,763. 8,542 active cases are still under medical care at selected hospitals and treatment centres located across the island. Sri Lanka also witnessed 165 deaths related to COVID-19. Persons leaving the Western Province will be subject to a random antigen test when they cross borders. 5 persons were identified during the test carried out yesterday. The Director General of Health Services, Dr. Asela Gunawardena, said that the aim is to control the spread to the other areas through people who travel from the Western Province. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
HDFC Smart Goals. All it takes is 3 years.
The Director, Maternal and Child Health at the Family Health Bureau, Consultant Dr. Chitramali De Silva, said that parents should pay special attention to protect their children from the pandemic during this period. She added that especially parents should not expose their newborn babies to strangers and outsiders. Addressing a media briefing held in Colombo yesterday, she said that it is a responsibility of the parents to protect their children. The World Health Organization Country Office for Sri Lanka, with financial support worth €2 million from the European Union, will help improve emergency response capacities in Sri Lanka to mitigate the impact of COVID-19, the EU announced in a release. The support will focus on several key areas, including enhancing the effectiveness of COVID-19 case management, as well as preventing infection. Developing the system's case management processes will enable better planning, coordination and decision-making. Additionally, a key component of GRANT, the advancement of a learning management system, will sustainably increase the health system's capacity to respond to public health emergencies in the future. That's local news.
Darling, our daughter has top O-level results. Do you know what this means?
Yes, just 3 years and she'll be going abroad for her degree.
For which we'll need a bank loan.
But is a normal loan the smartest option?
What else?
The smartest way is to start an HDFC Smart Goals account.
Let your child begin their degree with no delays. Start an HDFC Smart Goals account. Call 2356 888.
Honey, you're so smart.
HDFC Smart Goals. All it takes is 3 years.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vidamahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Minister Kelia Rambukwala said that the government is working towards developing the local products at a time the entire world is facing an economic crisis. Medium and long-term plans have been made to counter the global food crisis. The minister emphasised that the present government will not ink any agreement which harms the country with any party. He was addressing a gathering in Galagedala, Kandy yesterday. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Taking a look at Watchlight, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board says the water supply to several areas in Colombo will be suspended from 9 a.m. today until 3 a.m. tomorrow. Colombo 1, 2, 10 and 12 are expected to be affected by the 18-hour water cut. Water supply to Colombo 3, 4, 7, 8 and 9 will be under low pressure during this period. The Water Board said it is being imposed due to the restoration of a main transmission pipeline. That came to you in Watchlight. Looking at world news, in the headlines, COVID, US Vice President Mike Pence receives vaccine live on TV. COVID, Boris Johnson hoping to avoid national lockdown. And Eminem uses song to say sorry to Rihanna for backing Chris Brown. US Vice President Mike Pence has received the corona vaccine live on TV, telling the audience and doctors, quote, "I didn't feel a thing," unquote. The White House said the aim of the move was to promote the safety and efficacy of the vaccine and build confidence among the American people. Mr. Pence's wife and Surgeon General Jerome Adams also received the jab at the televised White House event. On Monday, the US began rolling out the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. The first vaccine to be approved in the US, it offers up to 95% protection against COVID-19. The first 3 million doses are being distributed to locations across the 50 US states. UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson says he's hoping to avoid another national lockdown in England, but that COVID-19 cases have increased very much in recent weeks. He chaired meetings on Friday, Number 10 sources said, amid growing concerns about the spread of a new variant of COVID in southeast England. Health bosses have warned the NHS is already under significant pressure. Nearly 90% of hospital beds in England are full, with coronavirus adding to normal winter demands. Government scientists are continuing to evaluate the new strain, and ministers have been discussing what action will be necessary to deal with this, sources said. Eminem has used a new song to apologize to Rihanna for siding with her ex-boyfriend Chris Brown, who assaulted her in 2009. Eminem raps on his track Zeus and wholeheartedly apologizes to Rihanna for that song that leaked, "I'm sorry, Ree. It wasn't meant to cause you grief." He was referring to a decade-old song that leaked in 2019 on which he said, quote, "Of course I side with Chris Brown," unquote. Zeus appears on Eminem's surprise album Music to be Murdered by Side B. The album, which accompanies January's Music to be Murdered by, was released on Friday. Back to the headlines of the world news. US Vice President Mike Pence receives vaccine live on TV. Boris Johnson hoping to avoid national lockdown. Eminem uses song to say sorry to Rihanna for backing Chris Brown. That's world news. Looking at development news. Spectrify AI, a part of Veracity AI, Sri Lanka's fastest-growing AI company, announced the launch of a new suite of solutions specifically designed to radically optimize production, agri-inputs and quality control across the entire value chain for tea, spices and herbs for the first time in Sri Lanka. Leveraging the very latest advancements in spectral scanning, artificial intelligence and machine learning, Spectrify AI delivers end-to-end consistency on quality standards directly into the hands of producers and value chain partners. This is accomplished by deploying extremely low-cost patented spectral scanners paired with AI to conduct real-time spectral analysis of everything from soil composition to the chemical makeup of tea, spices and herbs at every point, from field to factory to the final buyer. That's development news. Moving on to sports. Sri Lanka has named 5 uncapped players in their 22-man squad for the 2-test series against England. Batsmen Minod Banuka and Santosh Gunatilaka, spinning all-rounder Vanindu Hasaranga, and pace bowlers Asitha Fernando and Dilshan Madhushankar are all included. England named a 16-man squad last week for the series starting on the 14th of January. The Sri Lanka squad, minus the injured Angelo Matthews, will travel first to South Africa for a 2-test series. Matthews, who suffered a hamstring injury in the recent Lanka Premier League, will miss the series that starts in Centurion on the 26th of December, but is hoping to be fit for England's visit. England were originally due to tour Sri Lanka in March, but the series was curtailed during the warm-up matches because of the coronavirus pandemic. That's sports news. Business news up next. Google is being sued by 38 US states, accused of trying to make its search engine as dominant inside cars, TVs and speakers as it is in smartphones. This follows a landmark lawsuit by the US Department of Justice over a similar issue in October. It is the tech giant's third US government-related lawsuit in 2 months. Google said in a blog that redesigning its search engine would deprive Americans of helpful information. That's business news, economic news to follow.
Economic news, courtesy of
Just move on real time, save more, LOLC real time. Paying the premium for transactions, simply save now real time. Day night, no trouble for your transactions, LOLC real time. Download LOLC Finance real time app for your LOLC savings account. Attractive interest rates, transactions anytime, anywhere with a zero cost and more benefits.
The STB Bank's just concluded rights issue managed to raise 1.5 billion rupees. Apart from the bank creating capital market history by becoming the first Colombo Stock Exchange listed entity to successfully host and complete a rights issue digitally, the event was officially recognized as the first local digital share subscription to be oversubscribed. In early November, the bank informed their shareholders of the decision to facilitate the application of their rights entitlement plus additional shares entirely digitally. That's economic news.
Hello, Puta, did you land already?
No, Amma. We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
Oh, really? How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy. She might be feeling very uncomfortable. The airport must be heavily crowded because it's a season.
Amma, calm down. Everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge. There's nothing to worry.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
In the weather report, the northeast monsoon conditions are gradually getting established over the island. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the northern, eastern, north central and Uva provinces and in the Matale and Hamathara districts. Fairly heavy falls above 75 millimeters can be expected in some places in the eastern province and in the Matale and Polonnaruwa districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the Sabragamo province and in the Kalutara, Gaul and Matara districts after 2 p.m. Fairly strong gusty winds up to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected in the northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in the Matale and Hambantota districts. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The President instructs officials not to obstruct the livelihood of villagers. State Minister Dilum Amunugama says that the government will not change its stance on corrupt officials. The United Kingdom welcomes the President's climate change action. Sri Lanka witnesses 165 deaths related to COVID-19. It is stressed that parents should pay special attention to protect their babies from the pandemic during this period. Minister Kele Rambukwala says that the government is working towards developing the local products. And US Vice President Mike Pence receives a vaccine live on TV. That concludes this morning's news broadcast, and now it's back to your hostess this Saturday morning, Chandima Veerakon, to keep you company. Good morning, Chandima, and it's all yours.
A very good morning to you too, Sandhi. That was Sandhi Thavam bringing you the early morning bulletin of news.